there was a Jewish family in New York, and they got a phone call. They had a mother that was like 95 years old. This story happened like 40 years ago. They had a mother. The mother was like 95 years old, and she was in a home for the aged. How do they call it? Assisted living. And she was a healthy woman, but she felt better. She was in this home for the aged. It was very nice. She was with her friends and etc. She had people of own age, and they gave them, and of course the family would visit all the time, and it was a lively place. One day, it was right before Shabbos. It was like Friday, early in the morning. The family got a call that their mother had passed away. So they were very sad, of course, and they had to arrange the funeral very quickly because it's not good to leave the body unburied. So they rushed down to the funeral home, and there was the mother was covered over with a sheet. They uncovered her face. They said, "Yes, is that your mother?" Yes, they were all crying and everything, but they recognized the body. They made a funeral. They went down. They didn't wait for. Usually, if it would have been in the middle of the week, a lot more people would have come. But they decided it was more important to bury her quickly, that's what she would want. And so they buried her, that's it, and they went home. And they got home in time, and they sat Shiva for a little bit. And that was the first day. And then the next week, they continued what's called sitting Shiva, the 7 days of mourning. On the third day of mourning, which was like Monday, they get a phone call, and the man answers the phone, says, "Hello." Said, hello. Said, "Yes, who is this?" He said, "What do you mean, who is this?" "It's your mother. Where are you?" So he said, "What? Excuse me, this is the Groys family. Are you? "I know the family is. What are you talking about? This is your mother. Why aren't you coming and visiting me? What's up? You forgot about me totally. It's already been 2 days, 3 days. You haven't come and visited. Usually you call up before Shabbos. You come. Why don't you go?" I don't believe this. I said, "What? This is really you, Mom?" "Yes, it's me. Who do you think it's going to be?" He says, "Just 1 second." They rush down to this, and sure it is. There's their mother, and they're all happy and they're crying and they're kissing. He says, "What's going on? What are you guys nuts or something? I'm here. What are you? You don't come and visit me, and now you're all crying. What's the?" So they tell her the whole story. So she says, "Well, this is really strange. They went to the director of the home. He looks through the notes, and he sees, wait, we made a terrible mistake. There's a lady that was the same age as your mother, and she has the same name. And she was the one that passed away. And we buried her. That's the one that, so that's the one that we buried." He says, wait, this is the funeral director. He's like really sweating. And so they said, "Listen, okay, so we gave her a burial, and the name was the same name. So we put up," he said, "Yeah, but what about her? She's got a son, and he's really going to be mad at me. We didn't inform him at all, and what's going to be?" So the funeral director says, "Listen, will you do me a big favor, and you call this fellow up and explain to him, maybe go and visit him and explain to him and tell him that I want to settle this thing out of court. I don't want it to get into the newspapers." So they said, okay. So they called him up on the phone. They said, "Hello." Said, "Is this Mr. Groys?" "Yes, it is. We're calling from the home for the elderly." We said, "Oh, you want to tell me my mother died?" He says, "Just burn the body and send me the bill." So they said, "No, well, it's not exactly that. Can we come and tell you some?" "Sure, you can come. Of course. What's the problem?" They get in the car, they go over to his house, and they say, "Listen, Mr. Groys, it's true your mother passed away." He says, "Yes, I told you, what to do. I mean, it's good. It's it's too bad. She was an old lady, So just burn the body." So, "Well, listen, we want to tell you something that it was a little bit of a mistake. I mean, the fact is she already died on Friday." "Okay, she died on Friday. And they told us that it was our mother. We made a mistake. And we took it and we made a burial, and it was a very nice burial, very honorable. And we were going to put up a stone, with her name on it, and you don't have to pay." He said, "You what?" He said, we're sorry. Listen, don't take it to heart. Don't be angry at us. I mean, we treated her very nice. I said, what did you just say you did? What did you do? I said, we buried her. We gave her. You buried my mother? I said, I don't believe it. You buried her? I don't believe it. He sat down and he started to cry and to weep. He said, listen, I mean, she passed away, we gave her a burial. It was a very nice burial. It was very honorable. And the Rebbe said, I don't believe it. You buried my mother. Nah. And he started screaming and yelling. So they couldn't figure out what is going on. So they calmed him down, brought him a glass of water. And they said to him, listen, whatever was already was. Your screaming is not going to help. Just tell us what happened. What's wrong? Maybe we can fix it up. I said, okay, I'll tell you what happened. He said, me and my mother, we escaped the Holocaust. We escaped the Holocaust and we came to New York. At the time, I was like 9 years old. and my mother, she, was a religious woman. She believed. My father got killed over there, everybody. And she brought me up, and sure, she sent me to Hebrew school and to, bar mitzvah school, and I did my bar mitzvah. But then I got a little bit older, and I started, my eyes opened up. I saw that there's no more to the world than just, going to this Hebrew school and putting on these boxes and doing these things. And that some of the most fun was on Shabbat. So I got in with this group of friends, and we were having a really good time, and I was really enjoying myself. And my mother noticed that I wasn't putting on my tefillin, and that I wasn't. So my mother said, what? So I told her, I said, listen, that's it. I'm finished. I'm finished with this. What do the Jews get? They get burned in cremation, in Holocaust. They get killed. Who needs it? I have friends. They act like normal people. Why should we Jews remind us? I'm a normal person. I'm just like everybody else. And that's it. I'm not going to do Torah. I'm not going to do this. So we got into arguments, every day, arguments. And my mother would cry. And I'd say, listen, as soon as I get old enough, I'm leaving the house. Don't worry about it. You won't have to cry anymore. She was saying, my only son, give honor to your father. The Jewish people have suffered so much. And so I said, listen, they suffered enough. That's too much. I'm not going to suffer like that. I'm leaving. I'm going to be free. There's no sense what God looks down. He sees if I put on boxes or not. Come on with it. So anyway, it didn't do any good. And we got more and more arguments. And finally, in a heated moment, I said to my mother, listen, I'm not religious. I'm not going to be religious. And I'm telling you even more. If you die before I die, I'm going to have you cremated. But I'm not going to have you buried. If I die before you die, then you can do with me what you want. But if you die before I do, I'm going to have you cremated. And if somehow or other you're not cremated, it's only God is going to bury you. Your God. You'll see what your God does for you. Right? You have a God, he'll bury you. But if it's up to me, I'm going to cremate you. That's what it's going to be. And my mother was crying, and that's it. After that, we never argued. Never argued anymore. My mother saw how that must have really hurt her. Anyway, so all of a sudden now you come and you tell me that my mother died and that you buried her. I buried her. In other words, her God did have more power than I did. So listen, I have to rethink my whole thoughts again. I have to rethink the whole thing. And it ended up, he said, but right now I want to put on tefillin. You got to put a tefillin, put on tefillin. And the person started to wake up his Jewish identity. So that shows that, first of all, Hashem really is the boss. And second of all, that the troubles the Jews have are real troubles. They're actual troubles. But if you look at it in a proper way, that listen, there's certain things that we don't understand. But one thing that we do understand, true, a lot of people, Jewish people, they died and they suffered. But Judaism did not die. And our Jewish souls did not die. And we should not give a prize to Hitler and throw away our Judaism, because that's exactly what he would want. So, Am Yisrael Chai, and Kodesh Baruch Hu Chai v'Kayom L'Netzach. We'll see you all at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, Chumash class. Be on time.
See you at 3 o'clock. Yes.